questions.
Yeah, so lately I have been feeling that my mind is kind of overexcited, and I was basically figuring out what to do. Like, how should I like deal with that?
Is it scattered also?
Not scattered. So there are like
Okay.
a few things. Yeah.
So when you say your mind is overexcited, where do you feel that? Describe that in more detail. That's a very good topic. Many people have that kind of situation, but tell me more about what that is.
It's basically I feel like kind of high energy rushing through the body. It feels like those energetic sensations kind of feeling throughout the body, not just in the head, but yeah, throughout the body.
Are you
And
drinking coffee or using stimulants or anything like that?
no, so
Okay,
even without tea, coffee,
good.
but I
No
have
tea,
seen
no
that
coffee. Go ahead.
if I drink caffeine, it excites more.
Right.
But without caffeine, there's still that baseline excitement
Okay.
in the body.
And is your attention scattered or is it focused? Or can you focus your attention?
Yeah, yeah, I'm able to focus. Yeah,
So you just feel good?
feel good, but also restless, kind of restless at the same time.
Are you sleeping?
Yeah, so in the night, I feel like I don't want to go to sleep, so I have to force myself to go to sleep.
What are you doing before you go to sleep?
Before I
Not
go to
to go to
sleep,
sleep, not to go to sleep, but before you go to sleep.
it's usually either something related to work or reading a book or like regarding like investing stuff.
Do you feel healthy?
Uh, I feel the same in terms of health like before.
Okay. So help me understand why you think this is a problem.
Because overexcitation for two reasons. One is overexcitation seems like it's not a good thing for spirituality, and secondly, overexcitation, it doesn't feel good if I really look at it. It doesn't feel. It feels kind of restless, like not calm and peaceful,
Oh, so you're not feeling calm.
relaxed.
So you're calm, but you're not relaxed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Calm is subjective. I do feel calmer than how I used to feel before.
Mm-hmm. So you're making good progress. Okay, so what happens when you try to meditate?
When I try to meditate, I'm able to meditate as well.
You are?
Yeah.
And how long have things been like this?
Sorry, how long?
Mm-hmm.
How long has it been like this?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Probably 3 to 4 weeks.
Have you gotten a lot done?
Yeah.
Have your life circumstances changed in that 3 to 4 weeks?
I mean, in terms of the things I'm doing, those have changed.
Are you optimistic?
Yeah.
Would you say you're happy?
I would say I am more excited, probably happier. Yeah.
So you're happier and optimistic.
Yeah.
But you feel like you should feel another way.
I feel like I should be more chill.
Do other people think you should be more chill?
I mean, I don't know now, but like before, like other people used to tell me that I come off as high energy, and
Well, your temperament is somewhat high energy, right?
yeah,
Well, let's do this. Take a deep breath into your Through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Leave your eyes open. In through the nose. Down to the hara. Do you still feel restless?
A little less probably than before.
Okay, well that was 2 breaths. Let's do 2 more, or 3 more, or 4 more. Let's see what happens. Ready?
Mm-hmm. Now it feels the same as I was feeling after 2 breaths.
Okay, and what's that?
It's this general feeling of excitement. It's like mind feels like there are things to do, and feeling really positive and optimistic about them, and feeling like, oh, let's get shit done.
Okay. It sounds like it's a time to get stuff done. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so there are times when energies will be low and times when energies will be high. There'll be a time when the ocean is rough, a time when the ocean is smooth, a time when the wind is blowing, a time when the wind is still. And perhaps you just haven't conceptualized it in your mind that your body is also like this, and it has tides, right?
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you notice it as a change means that it's periodic. So let's just watch it and see what happens. But
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't complain if you feel happy and optimistic and you're getting stuff done. Maybe it's a time to get stuff done.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
A lot of times people have the opposite problem, but that passes too. All right, so just accord with it for now, and let's see what happens. Do you have other questions?
Yeah. So along the same lines, I read your tweet on temperament and personality.
Okay, what did you get from that?
So
Personality and temperament, 2 very different things. Well, not very different, 2 things that are different.
yeah, and I think I still don't really understand the difference between the two. Temperament seems something fundamental, something that is more
Have you ever owned
base.
any dogs or spent any time around dogs?
I have spent time around dogs, yeah.
You ever spent time around a Chihuahua?
A little bit, yeah.
You ever spent time around a retriever?
No.
Golden retriever lab, a golden lab?
No, I don't think so.
Would you say different dogs breeds have different temperaments?
Yeah.
That's what a temperament is. Temperament is more something that's determined by nature, by your genetic and your just not just your genes, but other things that we don't really fully understand yet. Probably your RNA, your all kinds of other things that we don't know about yet. But it's something more or less that you're born with and you die with. Personality is something that, like, whatever changes in personality may occur now that you're feeling energetic and happy, etc. Those are more having to do with personality. That you can change somewhat, depending on the circumstances. And someone's personality becomes very different. Someone might be very outgoing in one setting, have a very outgoing personality, like say if they're hanging out with girls or whatever. But then if they're at a dance, they become very introverted. It's a but if you switch it, then they become the opposite. Or someone may be not very talkative at all until she gets with her friends, and then she talks up a storm. But so that's personality. The temperament has to do more with the basic energy level, the basic temperament, the style. A Chihuahua is very different than a Golden Lab, right?
So is it like
A honey badger is
basic?
very different than a squirrel,
Mhm.
although those are different species, so that's not a good example.
So is it like basic energy level, basic like optimism, or basic like the way?
No, optimism can change. I know it did for me.
Mhm.
And I've, I was a shrink all my life, so yeah, optimism can definitely change. People can definitely become optimistic after being pessimistic.
Mhm. Mhm.
But it's more that I just want people to think about there's some elements of your temperament that you're not going to change. It's like your height or your set point or whatever, something like that. I mean, you could change it, but not for very long. But there's other things like your personality; they're much more malleable, and your psychological outlook.
Mhm.
And because people sometimes they go into therapy, and even the therapist hasn't thought this through, or isn't thinking about this in the right way, and they'll spend decades trying to change something that can't be changed
Mhm.
or shouldn't be changed or something like that. But that's basic psychology. That tweet was just basic psychology. Because I see people not making the distinction so often. All right, follow up. Next question.
Yeah. So let's say like the tendency to be obsessive, is it a temperament thing or a personality thing?
That is probably more on the towards temperament. So look, another way to think of these is temperament is nature, personality is nurture. That's a quick and dirty way to just think about the two. Obsessiveness tends to be more towards the nature spectrum. In other words, people don't necessarily learn obsessiveness.
Mhm.
On the other hand, it's very important to differentiate obsessiveness from obsessive compulsive disorder.
Mhm.
Although it may seem like a spectrum, true OCD is clearly a disorder, and you can get it, I think, according to data from the 20th century, you could get it from an infection of the mitral valve and a throwing of staph bacteria or strep, one of the two, to some part of the brain. But I'm getting into outdated. I have to check all that literature again. Yeah, I think it was OCD. Okay, all right. Next question.
Uh, yes, yeah. So like in the spiritual work, it's kind of not ideal to have an obsessive nature. It feels like it
Who said
seems.
that?
I don't know. I have read it's many places.
Where
I've
did you
heard
read
it.
that?
Obsessive, like nitpicking or like focusing too much.
Well, that's different. Nitpicking is very different than obsessiveness.
So like when I hear a Nasrudin story, and I
Let's hear the story.
Okay, let me just take an example. Let me.
So, foundational truth, Buddha mind, Christ consciousness, reality. These things are not related to the mind and its vicissitudes particularly. It's not a mind thing. It's actually beyond the mind. I'm speaking to the audience. Okay, I was just speaking to whoever happened to be listening in. Okay, go ahead.
So like this story, it's a joke basically. Principles of life saving.
Principles of life saving. Okay.
Should I read it out?
Yes. Is it long or how long is it?
No, it's a short one.
Okay, let's hear it.
So Nasrudin was not sure which of two women he would marry. One day, they both cornered him and asked which one he loved the more. Put the question in a practical context and I will try to answer it, he said. If we both fell into the river, which one would you save? Asks the smaller and...
Which are the two women? So let me see if I can set up the story, because I realize here that the sound is not ideal. So start over. Let's get it, because this is good. Let's see. Nasrudin is got a quandary, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's being asked. How do the Sufis frame it?
So they say Nasrudin was not sure which of two women he would marry.
They're asking him which of two women he would marry, right?
Yeah. One day they both cornered him.
And one day they both cornered him and asked him, go ahead.
Which one he loved more.
Which one does he love more?
Put the question in a practical context and I will try to answer it, he said.
Put the question in a practical context and I'll see if I can answer it, he said. Go ahead, good.
If we both fell into the river, which one would you save? Asked the smaller and prettier one.
If we both fell into a river, which one would you save? Asked the smaller and prettier one.
The Mulla turned to the other, a large but moneyed wench.
He turned to the other, a large and moneyed wench, and said, "Can you swim, my dear?" That is hilarious, actually. So, but what does that have to do with obsessiveness?
So, like when I read this story, right, I get the humor, I laugh, and then I also kind of like get some understanding that because he's impulsively he liked someone, so he basically turned to the other one and answered in that manner. But in my mind, there needs to be more. So like I know these are like teachings for the mind, so that's how my mind behaves when it faces two options. It needs to pick one. It picks the one that is its conditioned for.
Wait a minute. So stop. Give me a second. I'm going to turn on the Bluetooth here and see if I can fix this just a little bit better.
David's iPad disconnected. Ready to connect.
Give me 1 second.
Ready to connect.
There we go. That should do it. Speak, please.
Yeah, so...
Okay, yeah, that's
1, 2, 4.
All right, so you think there should be more?
Yeah.
What more do you want?
Like some hidden meaning that I must be missing.
Well, what do you think that story's about?
I think it's about the mind, how mind functions.
Whose mind?
Like everyone's mind, like my mind.
Everyone's mind?
Like the mind of like human people.
Do women's mind work like that?
No, for the guy.
So it's just how men's mind works.
How men's mind work, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Can you think of another way to explain that? How do men's mind work? Tell me then.
So like because as a man, I'm conditioned to like women who are prettier and beautiful than who are not.
You're also conditioned to like women with money.
Yeah.
Which would you prefer?
I mean, it depends on the situation. If I have money, then I would prefer the one without money. But
Let's
if
say
I
you don't
don't
have
have the
money.
money, yeah, if I don't have the money, then it depends, can I earn money or not? If I can't, then I would.
So the attractiveness of a woman as a mate, you've just told me, depends on whether or not you have money or not.
It's not the attractiveness. I still find the other one attractive. It's just what is more beneficial for me.
Okay,
I'll pick
that's
that.
for you, but there's other people who would do that or do the opposite. Which one are you?
Mm.
I mean, so we know something about your mind, all right? I wouldn't go advertising this because it's not politically correct to even talk about this. That's part of what makes it funny.
Mhm.
But how else could someone say to someone, you're at the mercy of your biology
Mhm.
or your greed?
Mhm.
Can you think of another way to do it? I mean, I think you could. I mean, that story should stay in your mind for the rest of your life. Why not? It will. And when you see
Yeah, it
that
will.
playing out,
Mhm.
men doing stupid stuff because of the young, attractive woman, then you have the Mulla there to put it into a form that can be codified. It's a meme.
Mhm.
Can you imagine that as a meme on X or something?
Yeah, I can imagine that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a meme. It's just a good meme. I think it's a great meme.
Mhm.
Can you swim, my dear? Anyway, so the Mulla can show us parts of ourselves that we may not want to look at otherwise. So now,
Mhm.
I don't understand what that has to do with obsession.
Oh, that. So even though I understand that part, I still feel like I should spend more time to see if I can find something else that I missed.
No, you should go on to the next one
So yeah,
and see
also
if you
like
missed
this.
something there.
Yeah, so like this nature of holding on to and nitpicking and that thing. That's the obsessive thing I was talking
Well,
about.
there may be more there. What's wrong with that? I mean, you've got your lifetime to think about it.
Hmm.
I don't. What's the problem?
Okay.
What could be obsessive is trying to find problems when there is no problem. And
Hmm.
people get used to having problems, and it's like a dog with a bone. They get used to gnawing on the bone, and if someone takes the bone away from them, they'll start gnawing on a stick,
Hmm.
or they'll gnaw on the twig. They need something to gnaw on, and
Hmm.
some minds need problems to gnaw on. And so if there's not
Hmm.
one, they don't know what to do with feeling happy and feeling,
Hmm.
it just feels
Hmm.
like something must be wrong. Another shoe's got to drop. But that's not true. Well, eventually something will happen, but, enjoy it while it lasts. Nothing wrong with
Hmm.
happiness. I mean, joy is superior, obviously, but happiness is nice when it comes and goes. I mean, when it comes, but then it goes. Joy is not like that.
Hmm.
Okay?
Okay.
I think you just made up the problem.
Hmm.
And if you go to the next, read the next one. Is it a short one, the next one, the Nasrudin?
Next one is a short one. Yeah.
Okay, read it out loud to where people can
Uh,
understand it.
yeah. It's the title is Unsuited,
Okay.
and it goes like, "Take up this sack and carry it to my house," said Nasrudin to a porter in the market.
Send him to the
May I
porter
be
in the
your
market. Okay, go ahead.
May I be your sacrifice, Effendi? Where is your house? The mullah looked at him aghast. You are a disreputable ruffian and probably a burglar. Do you think that I could ever tell you where my house is?
See, I like that one.
Mhm.
So now, do you have everything there is to get from that one?
I mean, I got the joke. I also got the like whatever I think like teaching is, I understanding I got that, and I will remember it in the future as well.
And then there's more you're going to learn from it later.
Hmm.
All right.
Hmm.
So just, I mean, one of the great things about the Sufi corpus is it's there's enough of it. Not too much, not too little, but enough to, you'll see later in life you'll appreciate things like this more.
Hmm.
Okay? Next question.
Okay. Yeah, the next one is
See, one of the problems that Americans have is they think, okay, if I haven't gotten this in the first, 2 minutes or 5 minutes or day, then something's wrong and it shouldn't take this long. Some of these take weeks, months, years, some decades, frankly. Next question.
yeah, the next one is about desire. Uh,
Desire.
and it seems to me that all of my desires are coming from memory. So anything that I know is good, I I feel an urge to get that. But beyond that, there is no desire as such. Like hunger, all those things are there, but I won't call them as desire,
Why not?
because when I am hungry, I want food, but there's no greed behind it.
What?
Like
But we're talking about desire, not greed.
so 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 like when I'm hungry, I want some food, and I feel
Is wanting
fit.
some food desire?
Wanting some food is a desire, but it's also a
Thank you.
need.
Okay, but
Yeah,
all right.
it's a need as well.
Okay. Are we talking about desire or need or both?
I think let's talk about desire only. So I think then what I'm saying is that desires that seem like obstacles or problems for me, those are coming from memory that I wanna get rid of.
I'm not sure if the way you're categorizing things. If I ask you to hold your breath, after a while you'd have a desire to let your breath out and take a new breath, right?
Hmm.
That's a desire. Does that get in the way?
No, it doesn't get in the way.
Okay. Does eating food that you need or wanting to sleep, does that desire get in the way?
No, that doesn't get in the way.
All right. So which desires get in the way and which ones don't?
So desire to let's say eat unhealthy food or tasty food, or desire to make a lot of money, or desire to like those other desires that
Okay. All right. But don't say it's okay. Good. So the desire to breathe after you've held your breath is not from memory.
Mhm.
Would you say, or I don't know what you're saying, this thing about
Oh,
memory and
yeah,
all
yeah,
this.
yeah, that one is not from memory. Yeah,
And the desire to eat when you're hungry is not really, is that from memory?
it's a so I don't know if someone would have never taught me to eat food, then I don't know, I would have learned that this is a feeling that can be calmed down by eating food. But once I know that, yeah, it's a need, it's a bodily need.
All right. So you want to divide needs and desires. Okay. Fair enough. Okay. What's the question?
So, so, so I think in the last time, in the last one, we talked about how, uh, I think in the dream conversation, they say
Yay.
to,
Go ahead.
so I don't remember the passage, but it was about relinquishing cravings, not desire, but relinquishing cravings. And there was a benefit to that.
Well, what can I do with that? But this book is much more advanced than what you're talking about. Is basic, get your life in order, get things straightened out. Don't be eating yourself into sickness. Don't be, drugging and drinking too much. Don't be overcome with greed and stupidity. So, but this is Zen, right? This takes all that for granted. This is a different book. This is more advanced.
Mhm.
So, if I don't know where you're going with this. What's the question?
Okay, I
And
think
also, if
yeah.
you have a
Then
citation here, we should know what it is because I mean, I can't.
okay, I think yeah. Let's move on from
Okay,
that.
next question.
Yeah, the next one is from page 16 in this book. It's standard misconceptions.
Okay, good.
And I was thinking if you can expand on these because they feel like one thing they say is one way, then they immediately contradict in the other way, in the other.
Yeah. So this is more advanced. This is for. All right, I'll just read it. There are a number of common misconceptions about Buddhism and what it teaches. Summarized as follows, they may generally be found wherever the word of Buddhism has been heard. Now, this is Zen, and this is Japan, and this is fairly late, although I was looking at some Juan Po. He says exactly the same thing. The Chinese patriarchs, also, the Chan patriarchs, say the same thing, but here we go. There are a number of common misconceptions about Buddhism and what it teaches. Summarized, they may be found wherever the word of Buddhism has been heard. 1. The pure land and the defiled land, or paradise and the mundane world, are separate. Delusions and enlightenment, ordinary people and sages are not the same. 2. There is no difference between sages and ordinary people, no distinction between the pure and the defiled. In Buddhist teaching, there are distinctions such as greater and lesser, temporary and true, exoteric and esoteric, meditation and doctrinal study. 4. Buddhist teachings are completely equal, none better than any other in any way. 5. All activity and perception is itself Buddhism. 6. Buddhism exists apart from all activities. 7. Things really exist. 8. All things are impermanent. 9. All things are either eternal or pass away entirely. 10. All things are illusory and empty, or they are in between existence and non-existence. 11. There is no truth outside of doctrine. 12. There is a truth outside of doctrine that is better than doctrine. All of these represent statements that are to be found in Buddhist views. All of them are partial views that are used for temporary purposes. When they are held as fixed views or sacred dogmas, therefore, they turn into misconceptions. In order to understand the Zen frame of mind, it is necessary to suspend fixation on such views or vacillation between them. Good. So these are standard misconceptions. What's the question?
So the misconception that they talked about, are they just saying that those who know do not generalize and those who do not know generalize? Is it just an
No,
example
that's not
of
what they're
that?
saying at all. They're not saying that at all. That's not even close to what they're saying. They're being very specific here.
So they are saying do not take any of the views as a fixed view because
They're not fixed views. That's exactly what they're saying. All of these represent statements that are to be found in Buddhist views. All of them are partial views that are used for temporary purposes.
Mhm.
They're used for temporary purposes.
Okay. So it seems like when I study something and I make a concept out of it, that concept needs to be dropped in the future or somewhere along the way.
Yeah, very good. Yes. There are no concepts in truth. But you need, I mean, you can use concepts to build the ladder out of, and then you climb up the ladder, and then, like Wittgenstein said, when you get to the top, you just throw away the ladder. It'll be obvious.
Okay. Okay.
Right, so if you get fixated on anything, right, fixation is the enemy of truth.
Mm-hmm.
But even that statement could be misconstrued. The crow just told me that. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So this isn't like elementary school. This is more advanced stuff now. We're taking for granted that you're practicing the paramitas. We're taking for granted that you're a decent person. Taking for granted that you've got some control of your mind, that you're a grown adult. Taking for granted that there's a certain amount of work and discipline that's required. All right? And the rest of the paramitas. Because in Zen, these were Zen monks, right? They'd already dedicated their lives to this stuff. And they're being taught by Zen masters or Chan masters in China. And so they're not, it's not for little babies that, need to learn to, not get drunk every night and eat a bunch of cake and ice cream. But those people are lost anyway, pretty much. I mean, they not necessarily, obviously, they could find their way too. And they do, oftentimes because of that. So even that's wrong. I mean, a desperate alcoholic or a desperate food addict can oftentimes find their way to the Dharma faster than someone who doesn't have any of those problems. So even that's not a fixed situation. Okay, sir?
Yeah. Cool.
Next question.
Yeah, next one is about...
I'm glad we got those on the
one.
record and got those in the AI. And that's a lot of
Sorry?
what I'm glad we got it on the record and into the AI. So the AI will transcribe all of these talks, question and answers. And I'm hoping that then it'll be searchable, right? Easily searchable, or you can query it, right? So you can have a pocket Zen teacher in your pocket for after I'm gone. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, because nobody's here forever. Okay, next question.
The next one is about inherent knowledge. It's in the same book, just the next page.
Inherent knowledge.
Yeah.
Are you sure it's the next page?
Yeah. Sorry, it's not the next page. It's 2 pages before. So page 12. Page 12.
All right. Inherent knowledge. A primary aim of Zen is the uncovering of what is known as inherent knowledge. Okay. A primary aim of Zen is the uncovering of what is known as inherent knowledge. This is not the kind of knowledge that is produced by thinking based on conditioned consciousness. It is said that the ignorant are obstructed by ignorance, while intellectuals are obstructed by intellectual knowledge. True. One way of getting past these obstacles and approaching inherent knowledge is letting go of whatever comes to mind. Okay. What's the question?
So are they talking about contemplation, or are they talking about like the meditation practice of turning the light around, or are they talking about something else?
In what phrase?
So they are saying this is not the kind of knowledge that is produced by thinking based on conditioned consciousness.
Inherent knowledge is the same thing as Buddha mind. It's the same thing as the Tao. Same thing as God. Same thing as truth. Same thing as the Dharmakaya. Same thing as reality with a capital R. Same thing as Allah, Brahma. That's what inherent knowledge means.
Okay.
This is not inherent knowledge is not a practice.
So whatever I am doing is being done.
One way of getting past these obstacles and approaching inherent knowledge is to let go of whatever comes to mind. Yeah, so whatever you're thinking, let go of it. As you go through your day, just don't hold on to anything. There's nothing to hold on to anyway, right? Whatever you hold on to is going to leave anyway, so why not just agree with the process and don't be like a dog that's chewing on a bone, right?
Mhm.
You don't need to do that. And you'll find that the bones just keep coming.
Mhm.
You don't have to worry about that.
Mhm.
Just do whatever you're doing and don't get attached. That's what they mean by attachment is the root of suffering, or clinging is the root of suffering. The attachment of mind. That's really what they're talking about. It took me years to realize they weren't talking about cars and shoes and things like that. No, they're talking about concepts, constructs, thoughts, preoccupations, whatever. Just let it go.
Mhm.
And when the time comes to leave this world, just let this body go. Nothing will be lost.
Mhm.
Okay?
Mhm.
Next question. He might have capitalized inherent knowledge. That might have helped people. But like I said, this is an intermediate Zen book. It's nice though, because it's very accessible. I'd spend quite a bit of time on it. There's parts of it that are absolutely brilliant.
Mhm.
This is a later book of Clary's, I believe. Yeah, somewhat. And then later there's the Treasury of the Eye of the True Teaching. Ooh, that's gorgeous. But that's advanced stuff
Mhm. Mhm.
for people who want to specialize in Zen for whatever reason. I think the aesthetics are probably the biggest reason, but there's others. Okay, next question.
Yeah, the next one is so the practice I do, which was turning the light around, but now it's just being and just so I just keep continue doing that. Like I don't know what, like is there will something
I
should
don't know what you're
something be
doing.
happen?
Could you lift the eyes up just a bit?
Yeah. Mhm. So like earlier I was
No,
doing the
on the
turning the light.
screen, on the screen. There we
Oh
go.
yeah, let me.
Because I don't know what you're doing. I mean, so I can't comment.
Mhm. Okay, so earlier I was doing turning the light around, where I was focusing on the back, and then I realized that the feeling of existence I was getting is pretty much the same. So now I just do that, just stay in
Who
that.
was focusing on the back?
That was still I was focusing on the back,
Okay.
and here also it's I that is there's a directed attention that is
Just
being
let go of the
exerted.
eye. Just let go of the eye.
So I disappears when I am in that for so long that I forget.
Good. Just hang out there.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything else before we stop?
I had one more question.
Okay.
Uh, it's from one of the videos of Krishnamurti. He talks about getting some kind of insight that changes the brain cells. I think he's talking about
Yeah.
like
Mutation. Yeah, Krishnamurti talks about a mutation of the brain.
yeah. So does that really happen? Like actual does physical change like that happen in the brain?
I'd have to say no, for the simple reason that the brain, like everything in this world, is Maya. it's illusory. It's not real. I mean, it's real from one perspective. From the point of view of this side, it's real. From the point of view of being on the other side, it's no more real than the planet or the birds or the trees or the stars. So ask the question again. Let me see if I can do better with it.
Okay. Yeah. So
Because I don't want to project myself. Remember, I've studied neurobiology. I studied it all my life. It's one of my favorite things. So go ahead.
Yeah. In one of his videos, Krishnamurti talks about having some kind of experience or insight that creates a mutation in the brain, changes the brain cells themselves. Does that really happen? Is that how things
Okay.
go?
I'm going to say that's highly unlikely for a few reasons. One of them is the experience is not a brain experience. It's an experience of consciousness. And then I might add that at that time, we're talking the middle of the 20th century, it's a manner of speaking. It might as well be a mutation. It might as well be a revolution in the brain. It might as well be a complete, like a complete transformation of the brain. But using brain language doesn't really make much sense, in my opinion. And I think it's more a manner of speaking. It has nothing to do with his, I don't know how much he hung out with neurobiologists, but a mutation in the cells or whatever, it transcends the cells. It transcends the brain. And so, but it's so dramatic that you might as well call it a mutation or a transformation or a revolution or what you can't. There's not enough superlatives to describe the profoundness of the experience, the life-changing experience, which is what they call achieving Zen. He's the only person I know, and I've been. Granted, this is a big world, and I've focused in certain areas. Everybody has to, right? But then I've extended into other areas, like other areas, and he's the only person I know of that refers to it as a mutation in the brain cells. Maybe he was hanging around with David Bohm too much. But the other thing, who was also not a brain scientist, a neurobiologist. But the other thing is that he just may have been speaking the language of the 20th century. In the early part of the 20th century, very, very excited. We thought we were going to understand the brain and understand everything there was to know about how the brain works. And, it was the decade of the brain. All of that went nowhere, essentially. The first real progress is made towards the end of the 20th century, beginning of this century, in active inference and the free energy principle of Carl Friston. But that's just fun, that's just science. We're talking about truth and knowledge. That's a totally different subject. So I'd have to say, no, that's just a manner of speaking. He can be pretty dramatical, Krishnamurti. Love that guy. Okay, sir?
Okay, yeah.
All right. Keep on trucking. You're doing well. And you just don't, if you've got high energy, use it, right? It's a great time to meditate. It's a great time to move the energies up. But, we didn't talk about where the energies were concentrated, but you could cull them down at the bottom of your spine if you wanted, and gently move them up and down just for fun. Open up your heart. That's always good. Opening up the heart. Yeah, do that. Take that energy, take it up to the chest, open your heart, and cultivate compassion. That'd be cool. All right, sir?
All right, cool. Thank you.
Take good care. All right, bye-bye.